Hi there, Perfecto de Castro here and welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a great day, or at least nearly as much fun as I am about to have. I just received this new t-shirt from my good friend Ryan Burke. This is one of his merch designs. Das Beagle-Sticken. Hold on, let me put it on. Okay, so now that I have the appropriate shirt, let's play some whammy bars. Here we go. Okay, like Ryan, I am very much a fan of the wiggle stick, or the whammy bar, or the tremolo bar, however you want to call it. So when he put out this design, I just had to have one. And yeah, I know this reads in German, but this is Ryan's original idea. It's not in any way influenced by a certain bald German YouTuber that we all know. And now that I'm wearing this shirt, I figured it would be a lot of fun to play and show off to all you guys some of my wiggle stick equipped guitars. As you can see, I have a lot of them. Now, instead of playing all the guitars, I think I will choose a representative of each whammy bar type. And aside from watching and hearing these whammy bars in action, I will share my thoughts on each one. That way, this video can be helpful for you if you want to try out different wiggle sticks, or if this is going to be your first time diving into the world of whammy bars. Now, this video is not sponsored by anybody in particular. In fact, I'm wearing somebody else's merch. But if you want to give extra support to me and my work on this channel, there will be affiliate links to a lot of the stuff I'm going to use in the video description. So please use those links when going gear shopping. Or you could pick up a PDC shirt from my merch store. I have new designs available. Okay, first wiggle stick type is the locking tremolo, Floyd Rose or otherwise. This is my Shabbat Lion FR. FR stands for Floyd Rose. And this particular Floyd Rose is the 84, which is one of their top of the line models. So this is made in Germany. It's got some brass bits, the fine tuners, as well as the block in the back. And the tremolo arm is the same as the original Floyd Rose as it came out in the 80s. Now, I didn't warn you in the beginning, but just the title itself should warn you that there will be a lot of weird guitar noises in this video. Okay, so the Floyd Rose Tremolo is my go-to whammy bar of choice. Ever since I was a kid, my ideal guitar needed to have a Floyd Rose, having grown up on players like Steve Vai, Eddie Van Halen, and all those 80s shredders. For me, this is possibly the most reliable yet expressive bridge available on a guitar. Aside from the whammy bar antics, the Floyd Rose has a lot of practical uses as well. For example, these fine tuners allow me to sweeten my tuning even in the middle of a performance. So in the unlikely event of a string going slightly out of tune, I don't have to stop playing to get it right back on track. And as long as it is properly set up, you can rely on the good old Floyd Rose to stay in tune, despite, the wildest whammy bar antics. Now, even though this is my favorite kind of tremolo, I have to balance this out with some, criticisms. My main critique is with the weight. A good quality locking tremolo system has a bit of heft to it. That helps with tone and that helps with stability. But it can be a little unwieldy for delicate whammy bar work. Let's say if you want to bend to a specific pitch. Now, the other common complaint linked to a Floyd Rose is, it goes out of tune when you break a string. But that is true for any floating whammy bar system, regardless whether it's locking or not. So I'm not counting that. One valid complaint, though, is sometimes the wiggle stick itself can have a little bit of play. However, I have a hack for that. Come back to this part after watching the entire video, and then you can click on the card above to go watch it. It's very easy. Okay, next wiggle stick. Okay, the next wiggle stick is the vintage style tremolo with the 6 screws. This is my McMull S Classic private stock, and this bridge is a Gotto vintage style non-locking tremolo. As with most of my guitars, this is also set up to be floating. That way I can wiggle the pitch up and down, which is great for, chord shimmers. And for subtle and delicate whammy bar work. Now, even though this McMull has pretty much vintage stylings, it doesn't even have locking tuners, as you can see. The hardware is pretty much in line with whatever you can find on vintage Strats. So you have to do a bunch of things to keep the tuning stable on this system. First up is how you tie the strings onto the headstock. Now, I know a lot of people don't like this, but I use the luthier's knot to lock the strings in place. And as you can see, even though this is a vintage style tuner where you can slip this end of the string in, I didn't use that at all. I preferred to, tie it regularly and lock it in place. It's just one less thing for you to worry about. The next thing is the nut, and it has to be cut perfectly with no friction points. That way the strings don't bind at the nut slots as you whammy away. Another good idea is to use some sort of lubricant on all the friction points, namely the nut, the string tee if your guitar has one, and at the saddles. You can use something like a Music Nomad Tune-It lubricant or petroleum jelly. My good friend Mike Adams uses chapstick to lubricate all the friction points. And once you address all those issues, then your non-locking tremolo system will work as advertised, short of any wild whammy work. The thing I like best about this type of whammy bar is that It is very light and it doesn't take much muscle to, reach a pitch and hold it there. Usually with the Floyd Rose, after a couple of seconds, you are fighting the spring tension because it wants to go back to the 0 position. But with these vintage style trems, you don't have to work as hard, especially if you adopt the Jeff Beck hand position. So no pick, right? And then place the strings. Index finger is at the tip of the whammy bar, and that takes care of all the dips. And the pinky and ring finger are at the base of the whammy bar, and that takes care of the pull-ups. Okay, next wiggle stick. Okay, so here's a more modern version of a non-locking trem. This is my Solid Guitars 622, and it has a Goro 510 2-point non-locking tremolo. And usually this system is paired with locking tuners and slippery composite nuts and string tees. So this setup right here is designed to bridge the gap between vintage style wiggle sticks and locking whammy bars. This wiggle stick shares the lightness of the vintage style tremolo. It doesn't take a lot of muscle to, manipulate the bar. It's not as soft, but it's not as stiff as a Floyd Rose. The 2 pivot points and the knife edge makes it act more like a Floyd Rose. So it gives you a lot of range. With a nice smooth feel as you push and pull along its range. Plus, it's capable of some Floyd Rose-like effects like the warble or the flutter. I will say that while convenient, the locking tuners does not rival the stability of a locking nut. Yeah, close but no cigar. So I still have to remind myself not to get carried away and lift this guitar by the wiggle stick. A trick I can share, however, when playing non-locking tremolos is to give the bar a quick yank in the opposite direction if you feel that you've knocked it out of tune. Because sometimes the strings bind at the most unfortunate spots, and pulling the bar in the opposite directions will dislodge it. Okay, now I've shown you some of the more common whammy bars shared by most of my guitars. So for the next few instruments, I'm gonna show you some of the less common wiggle sticks. Okay, next wiggle stick. Okay, this is my Shabbat Leopard. This is my second offset guitar and first offset guitar with a wiggle stick. And this wiggle stick is the Mastery Bridge, which is, the bridge to get for this type of guitar. My good friend Mike Adams turned me on to offset guitars when I met him during Guitar House. And yeah, after playing his beautiful Jaguar, I had to get my own offset guitar with a Mastery Bridge. The thing I like most about this bridge is the expressiveness. The whammy bar is very light. In fact, it is softer than my vintage style tremolo on the Macmal. The other pleasant surprise is that the Mastery Bridge is very stable tuning-wise. It doesn't have a lot of range, but for what it does, it is very effective. Possibly the thing I like most about the Mastery Bridge is the ability to play behind the bridge. If you set it up just right, the notes are actually in tune. Especially a lot of fun with some heavy fuzz. Okay, next wiggle stick. Okay, this is my 1963 Gibson Les Paul Custom, freshly restored by my good friend Robbie, and it has the Maestro Vibrola. Now, before I get into it, I will say upfront that this is probably my second to the least liked whammy bar system or wiggle stick. The least liked being the Bigsby. I don't like Bigsby's. And that's mostly due to these things being notorious for tuning instability. Now for this guitar, I've already lubricated all the friction points, but it's still a gamble every time I touch the bar. Yeah, see what I mean? Now for subtle whammy work, it works just fine. And while you can pull up on it, it is not recommended. Yeah. Great looks, but poor function. Okay, one more wiggle stick. Okay, so this is my KZ Guitars RS replica, and this is an exact replica of Brian May's Red Special, the famous Red Special. From the construction to the woods, to the pickups, down to the wiggle stick that Sir Brian May himself designed along with his dad. So this tremolo system functions pretty much similar to the Mastery bridge. So there is a spring underneath this plate right here, and that is connected to the bridge tailpiece where the string ball ends are attached. And that is also where the whammy bar is attached. Or the wiggle stick. I keep forgetting, wiggle stick. Then the string travels over the bridge, which has roller saddles. So there is no friction point here. Then moving on to the headstock, we have a 0 fret and a nut that pretty much just serves as a string guide. The bottom of the string does not touch the nut material, so there is no friction or binding point there. And finally, we have a set of Goto locking tuners. Now, I didn't expect this tremolo setup to be as stable as it is in both, pushing down on the bar and pulling up on it. The bar action is pretty soft. In fact, it does work very much like a mastery bridge. But the mind-boggling part is that this very stable tremolo system was developed by Brian May back when he built the original Red Special. And I don't know why not more systems are built like this. Okay, there you have it. Those are some wiggle sticks representative of the guitars in my collection. Now, I do have different variants of each bridge type. Original Floyd Rose Special, Floyd Rose 1000, Schaller Lock Meister, Goto Locking Trem, Ibanez Edge Tremolo, Goto 510 2-point Tremolo, Goto Vintage, Fender Vintage Bridge, and the list goes on. So if you want me to compare different models of the same bridge type, let me know in the comments and I will bring you some more Wang Bar wiggle stick goodness. And since you've watched this far, I'm gonna ask you for your extra support. Please use my affiliate links in the video description to go gear shopping or pick yourself up a new PDC shirt. Thank you so much. YouTube thinks you're gonna like this next video, so click on the end card to watch. Then go grab your guitar and play something. You all know the drill. Practice makes perfecto.